everyone, it's Linda from LyndaCreates, and I have this part one of an ongoing project that I've started, and it is a notebook, but it's a little different. I am playing with a whole bunch of fabric and vintage lace and vintage trim and vintage linens, just all kinds of things. Let me share with you how I'm going to make this. I'm starting with a 2-inch spine 3-ring binder, and I cut the fabric, the outer fabric here, at 29 inches wide by 15 inches tall, and that was giving a generous amount to the coverage. I know that sometimes when you stitch, everything shrinks down because you're pulling at the fabric, so I wanted to make sure it was wide enough. And then on top of that, for the front cover and the back cover and the spine, I cut a piece of felt, and I would recommend you measure it once you put the fabric down. Leave about a 5/8, depending on how thick your binder is. This is a 5/8 inch opening or gap between the pieces, and I'll show you in a second why I have it just the felt sitting on top. And so when you fold it, okay, you have this gap here where the bend is, and so it just makes it for a less bulky finish. And I also wanted it as a reference for myself, so when I'm stitching later, I know where it's going to start wrapping. So let me show you on the inside. I don't have this attached yet, so this is what I mean by a binder, and this is a D-ring. You can, if you want to do a D-ring, you don't have to. The thing with it though is when you're on the inside, this panel will obviously be shorter than this panel, and you'll have these seams. So it's just something to think about. Doesn't matter the color. So this is what I'm going to start, and I want to attach the flannel behind the cover. So this white's going to be the cover. Just to make sure everything fits okay, I'm going to tack it down while it's on the notebook, so I know exactly where it is. I wanted to show it in the working stages, so it'll be something, my notebook will start off something like that, and I just have it clips to hold it in place. And you want to wrap it before you cut, sew, stitch, anything. You want to wrap the fabric onto your binder and fold it closed, so you know where the fabric will pull from. Because if you just lay it flat and assume that that's the correct where this corner will be, you might be off a little bit. So just to let you know, this flannel that I cut was, on the cover it was 10 5/8 inch wide by 11 inches tall. But again, you want to measure your notebook, whatever you're doing, and I again left about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, just because it gets real bulky when you get all the way to the edge. So I plan to stitch a lot of things on this, so I wanted to give it a little space, a little breathing room. I'm going to start tacking this down. Tacking it down while it's still on the binder is a lot harder than if you were to take it off and just do a running stitch. But if I'm doing this primarily to make sure when the notebook is folded that everything will lay in place. So you can do it either way. You really can. It doesn't have to be done this way on the binder. You could always pin it down, take it off, or remove it and then stitch it. I took one of the clips off, so you can get your hand under there, and then use a needle puller. And I'm going to clip it again so it stays on. I have the front and back tacked down. I just need to do the spine now. So I'm going to try this one, pinning it and seeing how accurate it is when I'm done with it. I just made a really weird discovery. Backstory is I'm somewhat ambidextrous. I was born left-handed and switched over to be right-handed. So some things I naturally do left-handed without thinking. So in doing this running stitch, I discovered I can do it faster left-handed than right-handed. I'm stitching this direction. I have my needle puller. It's going much faster than trying to do it in the other direction. Pinning does work, I have to say. All I know is this is a strange realization for any ambidextrous, semi-left-handed stitchers out there. And you know who you are. So I have the flannel stitched down. And now what I have to do is flip it over. So this piece is the front. There's my X. So to keep it in the front, I need to flip it over and put it at the top. So the size is the same. I'm ready to start stitching on it. And I have my side. I have my areas now that I know where everything is going to be. I could see my spine is here. I could see my front is here. And now I could do some collage, fabric collage, and start laying it out. And I have some pieces I want to share that I'm thinking of starting with. What I started with was this beautiful piece of fabric of cotton that I got from a fabric thrift store. It was just so gorgeous, absolutely. And like I am such a sucker for poppies. So when I saw this flower, I knew I wanted to get that down on it, which kind of set the tone for the rest of the project in a sense. And like if I have this poppy, I do have that. I think the poppy will go more this way. I have some thrifted doily, which I was thinking might go like across so it wraps around in the front, kind of in the back, or maybe it goes the other way. That's an idea. Kind of like takes you from one panel down to the back. Another piece I wanted to use was I recently thrifted this embroidered table cover, I guess, vintage table cover, but it has these really sweet little pink embroidered pieces and this lace, so I want to incorporate that into it. And I also had these flowers. So this will be the main flower, maybe in the front. A string of these might be in the back. I also have, now this is machine made, but I like the shape of it. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And, oh, if I could somehow work in this peach colored velvet, absolutely love that. So one of the first things I wanted to do on this notebook cover is a fabric weaving. I just saw a video by Create and Craft by Christine, and she did this beautiful fabric weaving, and it's just strips of fabric, scrap fabric, and she wove it together and then stitched it. And I thought that is exactly what I want to do, but in a variation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mimic what she did, but with a little bit of a difference. These are 1-inch strips, and I tore a lot of them, but some of them were upholstery fabrics, and I have them all lined up here, which I don't particularly like to have them all the same, but upholstery fabrics that you really can't tear. There's some that are cut, and that's because it's upholstery fabric, and then there's some that are torn, which I just absolutely love. And I just want to say, the thing with torn fabric, or the thing with using this fabric, is you can either use the right side, or if you want a little more neutral, the wrong side. Doesn't matter. So let me just show you real quick. With cotton fabric, you can tear along the grain of the fabric. You just do a little snip, and then you tear. And with cotton fabric, it will tear quite easily. I'm going to do 2 areas. So what I'm basically trying to do is mix them up to make a 6-inch patch, roughly. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So I'm trying to go through, I'm trying to use mostly neutrals and not mess it up like that, and do about generally a 6-inch square. But what I want to do is I'm going to have one batch up here and one batch down in the bottom left corner. But now that I laid it out, I need to move it up into this corner, and this is also why you want to know where the edges are, because you don't want to have all this work fall off the edge. I will have some pieces that will go up and off the edge as well. I kind of want, see if this can come down a little bit. Okay. Like I said, some pieces are going to go off the edge on the right hand and left, or off the edge of the whole piece, and others will stay nice and neat and tidy on it. So it's kind of the thing. The other thing too is if you like the little rough edges, that's great. It really does add a little character to it. You can also leave the selvage in there if you want. That is the weaving. I have to weave it still, but that's the weaving on that corner. I can look at this bottom corner. So I have 2 weavings. I kind of want the weavings, because I have it in neutral colors, I kind of want it to fade into the background so that anything else I add on top of it is what will be interesting. Let's see what else I have here. I'm going to have this on top. I have some of that. I'm kind of going over this in my head again because I want to put my poppy, place of prominence, in that corner. I wanted to put my flower. The flower may end up stitched half over this, which is fine. I don't know if this doily is going to be too much for the cover. And I mean too much, I meant bulk. So I'm going to dig through my fabrics or my linen some more, and I will find a place for this. Maybe a little corner someplace. I think I need to start cutting pieces and adding it to it. I need to find my linens. I'll be pulled out my box of linens. Okay, this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not sure if this is silk, but we won't discuss the ironing once again. It is washed, just not ironed. Anyway, Some of these crochet pieces, I don't have the heart to cut up just yet. This is a nice little lace piece. This might be something I might cut up. I think I saw a hole in it, so I have to decide. I have these. They don't feel as special. I have this. Color-wise might work. Bring in too much color maybe. Okay. Oh, I might use this. It's tea tray. Okay. I have a smaller one of those and a larger one. So let me put that aside. A round one maybe. Too fancy. Too fancy. I don't know, you just kind of collect these, and some you actually kind of fall in love with, like this one is, I think I talked about this before, this one is knit. Well, if I could use it as a whole, I wouldn't mind using it. Okay, so that is, there's my weakness, is that I don't like to cut up something that is something unique that I've found that I just don't know if I'll find another one. Bits of lace. I still have a box full of lace, vintage lace. So let me hold on to those pieces. If I take this away, okay. I also have these. This is the larger one or smaller one. I think that's a small, no, that is the larger one, which is kind of cool because it will overlap front and back. The front starts here, so a little bit of that. The back starts there, so a little bit of that. And then the middle right here, might do that one. It adds more than, maybe. It is between this that works well front and back, or this beautiful knitted. Gosh, every time I see this, I stop and look at it because it is so gorgeous. I've just never seen a knit doily like this. So, yeah, I can't do that one because it doesn't show up enough on both sides. You know what? I'm going to cut this flower out right now. Which one? I could cut. If I cut this poppy out. Oh, I see so many fun projects with this. But I have to do a poppy. Okay, I think I'm going to cut this one out. Just in case I want this ivy later. So this may end up being right there. Look at that. That is the plan. These two are woven. This is going to sit there, and what to do, and this goes this way, so it might just end up being something like that. Again, woven, some flowers, some flowers. Do I want this piece? Again, I want the woven parts to be background so you don't notice them as much, so stitching can go over them without a bother. So like these two are stitching over them. This might be interesting. Like right here, in the spine. That could be interesting. I just think it would look so lovely here. The reason I'm doing it so large is that I could put this edge underneath here, and then it'll come out to about here, so it'll add some fiber, some fabric across, and then it'll go below the lace. Be brave and cut it. Be brave and tear it. Whoa. Okay. Move this aside. I'm going to be super duper brave. So, dun dun dun. Okay. Oh gosh, this tears beautifully. Oh, that actually was a lovely tear. Maybe I could do it. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the softest little tear. I think old cotton just feels so much better. Okay. So roughly like that. Have the lace cover over the parts of it. Could go behind there and behind there. So that will be the center of the back. Now, oops, have my flower there. This flower is going to go on top. At least that's where I'm looking right now. The goal too is not have any of this white showing. Don't know yet what I'm going to do. I still need some old fabrics. I will dig through my fabrics, find what I have to fill in some of this space. So I'll be back. Did some digging through my lace and I found, oh, it's a loop. But this is actual, oh, how am I going to cut this apart? I don't know. Anyway, this is actual tatting, old tatting, which is just amazing. This was just gorgeous. Again, vintage, thrifted it several years ago. It's machine made, but it's just so pretty. Probably use this somewhere. Daisies. I used to love these daisies. And I have vintage ones that I've thrifted. So it might go on here even though the color is a little off, but I could always change the center colors of that. Oh, I also found a little lace butterfly, newish, or it's not old, I know that. It might go someplace, don't know. And then this is relatively new. In the scrapbooking world, it's vintage. I don't know what company made it, but it's like a gauze strip, but it's in shades of green. So maybe I'll use that somewhere. Don't know. Pulled it out to look at. This I want to use. I definitely want to use it because I'm fascinated with tatting. Because it is one of the few, I always laugh that it's one of the few needle arts that I've never experimented with, and it seems like it's too fussy for me to even want to attempt. That's why I admire it so much. So I may include it just for that reason. And this, I'd love to get this in there. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think stitching over that would be too hard. I just don't know yet. I have an idea. I'm getting there. Anyway, once I have an idea for what I want, I'll take a picture of it so then I can take off the top part and stitch this down. You know what? I may do a few more flowers. That would be kind of cool. I could either use another set of flowers from this same fabric, or I have other fabric. Okay, I laid this out, and it's just a rough layout right now, but I like the way it looks so far. The florals will be stitched into similar colors, especially the poppy. but I have lace, I have some gauze, and it's not pinned in place yet, so the weaving underneath, depending on where it goes, it'll show up a lot better than it is right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe to my channel. I upload a new video every Sunday. And check out my website, LyndaCreates.com, that's Linda with the Y, for more inspiration. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!